Welcome back to Professional Perspectives. I'm Arav, joined by my co host Praneeth, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 2. Every episode, we sit down with leaders, builders, and visionaries who are pushing boundaries in their industries and rethinking what's possible. Today's guest is someone who perfectly captures that spirit. He's a senior software engineer at Walmart Global Tech, working on large scale systems that power the world's biggest retail operations. But beyond that, he's also an emerging voice in deep tech and entrepreneurship, thinking about how innovation, scale, and vision come together. Our guest today is Mr. Siddarth Pai.
That's right. Mr. Pai is not only an accomplished engineer, but someone who's deeply curious about the intersection of technology, impact, and venture creation. His journey reflects a shift we're seeing more often: engineers who don't just build systems, but build futures. Mr. Pai, we're excited to have you here.
Thank you, Arav. Thank you, Praneeth. Thank you for inviting me here. It is, looking forward to this podcast. Yeah.
So, just to start the conversation off, what originally drew you to technology? Was it the curiosity, creativity, or something completely different?
During my high school, I was very fascinated with the CERN physics experiment that motivated me towards computer science and high energy particle physics. Hence, I took my undergrad in computer science, and then I worked for multiple. During my undergrad, I tried a venture called one was Garage Connect. If you have a car, you want to give it to service, you can book through this app, and you can even during a breakdown, you can request a service appointment. I had done build this app, and then I also worked on building a underwater unmanned vehicle which could be used for defense purposes, like for Indian military and petroleum rigs and all. So I hired some of the interns and engineers, and we worked for some time. I also got incubated in my college incubator. I got around $10,000 in that day's prizes for my startup. And I also went on to win some of the business plan competitions on this idea.
Awesome, yeah, that's really cool. And could you talk to us more about your UAV, underwater UAV? That seems like a really cool thing. And was there a reason behind why you wanted to explore and create a underwater or uncontrolled autonomous vehicle?
Myself got an intuition. I was working on Arduino and Intel Galileo project. During that, when I was exploring use cases where we can use this, I thought that we can integrate this Arduino or Intel Galileo board to sensors, and then integrate a camera and build a underwater vehicle which can be having applications in petroleum rigs. Like India has some of the petroleum rigs, and military, like cleaning submarines and other, like I thought like that. So hence I worked on that idea how I can continue to build on that.
Yeah, it's actually very interesting how you viewed this problem or this technology both as a founder and also as an engineer.
Yeah.
From what I've noticed, many engineers find their rhythm in execution, while these founders think more in abstraction. And how have you learned to move between both of these mindsets?
Engineering is more about execution. You do not think a business problem, you do not think in a business sense. You will be given more about you'll be given a context and you'll be told what to do, like writing a program. But business is about thinking in the real world. What may be the gap in the existing solution, where you can fit in your solution, and how can a solution that you're thinking of solve a particular problem. So these kind of thinking. So there's something called push and pull, a kind of innovation. Whether you are selling to an existing market or you are creating a new market and you are attracting a customer. So these kind of thinking you need to do as a founder uh, while building any product or service.
Yeah, and I also wanted to really quick touch on your founding experience. Other than the ones you had in college, you also founded another company called Book My Man Tap. Could you talk to us about that and your process with the company?
Yeah. During my undergrad, I met one of my co-founder, and then we discussed on solving India's events management. Like if you have a birthday party or if you have a wedding, you can book a mandap, which is like a wedding hall. And then I worked on the from the idea to building that website and talking to the existing banquet halls, photographers, decorators, and all other people to integrate that into our platform. So yeah, that was about that venture.
Yeah, and I can like really see your passion for like solving these problems and starting these new innovations. For you, what excites you the most about this new current wave of innovation happening in fields like AI, quantum, and cloud infrastructure?
Uh, we have seen in the last decade how cloud computing has solved built many apps and products, like from DoorDash to WhatsApp to Uber and others. I feel the AI is going to accelerate because this time you are having intelligence solve many problems which humans could take many years to live. So I see the potential with the AI in productivity and solving problems is going to be huge. So it is pretty exciting what is going to be ahead of us in the next decade through AI and other emerging technologies. Cloud is already been there. AI will run on one of this cloud, and yeah, cloud we have already been using. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's actually very interesting to see like how everything is gonna pan out, and with like AI and like artificial intelligence, and everyone talks about its impacts and stuff like that. So I'm definitely looking forward to see too how that all pans out. Uh, as you transitioned from founder to engineer, what skills or perspectives have you had to develop, and why do you think so?
Uh, as an engineer, you need to know how the system works. Hence, most of the engineering interviews are focused around system design. Whether you build today you today you build one system, for example you build of say uber.com or whatever. So you need to it needs to cater to if the app works for 100,000 users, it may not work for million users. You need to design that system base, be it a database, be it the mobile application. It needs to cater for all this eventuality. So you need to design systems. You need to think how to design such a system which can work in all of this scenario. So as a founder, you'll be focused on solving for your early customers, who is your early paying customer, and your focus is not much on the system. It is solving the business problem initially. Eventually you will work with engineers to scale it, and then you will work with system. As an engineer, you will be generally working for a large corporation, so you'll be focusing on solving the system level issues and low level implementation of how the code and others, like yeah.
And it seems like this is kind of a topic or an idea that not many entrepreneurs really think of or engineers think of at first on how you need to cater to both the 100,000 user mark and also the million user mark. Many of these engineers also do dream of starting their own technology or company as well. What do you think they often overlook as well as this when planning the first steps?
Nowadays, most of the scaling problems have been resolved because of cloud computing. Because AWS, you don't have to manage servers; you it will auto scale. So some of the things are taken care of. But as a founder, initially for the first 100 or 1,000 users, you need to be focused at getting the customer interviews and getting the feedback from those customers, and work on iterating, like build product fast and get a feedback and incorporate that feedback and move forward. So iterate fast, unlike in a large company where you have a product life cycle for a week, so for a quarter or a half year or something like that. In a startup, it is like every week you will iterate fast. So as a founder, you need to focus on building which works, where the customer will start paying for the product or find useful. So you need to have that loving customer in the initial days. Later you can go for think of scaling and all. So yeah, most of the things they think of building the product is the whole thing. It is just a part of it. Solving so idea is not just the only thing. Idea, many people have idea. There's something called innovation tournament by a Wharton professor, Carl Aldrich. He says if you have 10,000 ideas, like it will funnel down to 100 ideas during a seed funding, and then comes to 10 fund for a series A, and maybe one will become a unicorn. So like that, you as a founder, you need to focus on solving the problem for the customer, then yeah, business, focus on business problem. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice, especially the fact about iteration and trying to like adapt and not kind of being stubborn with your idea, but being able to change and adapt to the situation. You were earlier talking about cloud computing. For our audience, could you define cloud computing? And also, how do you see cloud computing evolving in the next few years? especially with the rise of AI driven infrastructure and edge computing?
Yeah. Uh, Cloud is a distributed computing where companies will have installed data centers where you can rent them as you use them. You don't have to buy a server, and earlier you had to buy a dedicated server. Now you can pay as you go, like that. So if you want there are different layers of cloud computing. There is a platform as service, there is a compute as service, there is a infrastructure as service, and there is other software applications as service. So some of these things are there. So usually cloud computing has, like, for example, if you are wanting to solve some mathematical problem or physics problem, you may not have compute. You may have just a i7 in your house or a MacBook in your house. You may want to rent a server, so you may go to Amazon and buy a EC2. It's a elastic compute. In that you can rent a server, and you can deploy your program, and if it needs more compute, it will scale up, auto scale. So it will take more server and it will auto scale. For that you need yeah, that is on that side. And if you want to store, so suppose you want to store your some of the files, there is something called Amazon S3, simple storage service. Okay. So S3 is just like a Google Drive, like that. And then there is other databases, like Amazon has a Amazon Aurora and DynamoDB and others. Similarly, Azure has equivalents, so equivalent Azure and GCP. So some of these companies provide you with their computing and other infrastructure capability, so that you can pay as you go for those services. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really cool how you know all these, new technologies and key terms. How did you learn this stuff? Was it through like your college classes, or how do you like do outside research for these young high schoolers who also want to get into this stuff?
Yeah, I learned about cloud computing through internet initially. Later, I had a course in my seventh semester during my undergrad. Also, I learned during my job. As a high schooler, you guys can go to Amazon's AWS learning portal. During my undergrad, I used to there was something called Microsoft Virtual Academy, where you could take any course. I had taken courses on ASP.NET, React JS, and other programming language, and Microsoft Windows application development and all. So similarly, you can sign up for these. There are free webinars by Amazon on their AWS Learning. There you guys can sign up and then take some course. Like there's something called Cloud Practitioner. That is like a basic level Cloud Practitioner certification that teaches some of the concepts, and there is a video lectures for that. You can watch some of these video lectures to understand some of these cloud concepts. And Amazon gives you for 1 year free AWS services. If you sign up with your email ID, you get for 1 year free Amazon services. You can experiment. You can experiment with that.
Awesome, yeah. Thank you so much for the advice, talking about how high schoolers can learn about topics like cloud computing. To touch earlier about your answer about EC2 or Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud, for engineers and early founders building new products, EC2 offers immense flexibility, but also kind of like that complexity. How do you approach designing systems that balance like scalability, cost, and like the simplicity on EC2?
Initially you will make some of the assumptions, like how many typical users you have, like and how much is the how then based on that you will get to estimation. If it's 1,000 users, you may need a say 100 instances, just giving an example. So based on this, you will make a back of the envelope calculation, what kind of instances you need for your requirements. Based on this, you will keep some buffer, and then you will run a stress test, whether it will work for it. And then you will benchmark it, and then note those results, whether your system is working well for these kind of benchmarks. So based on that, you will in the production, you will give for if you are in your test, if it is working for say 8 instances, you will give 12 instances in the actual production, so that you have some buffer in case of some spike. So, and you will have some monitoring mechanism, like there are some tools like Dynatrace and Datadog and uh, others, Splunk and all. where you can monitor what is the usage. If there is error also, you can monitor where has been the error, which cluster is down, what is the health of this cluster, etc. So like this you will so first you will build an application, then you will test it with your application, then you will make a calculation what is the estimated compute need that you need, and based on that you will allocate those nodes.
Yeah, this is honestly amazing, like technical advice. I think this could really help engineers looking to build their own technologies. But switching more to like a personal and mental philosophy, what are some like guiding principles you rely on when making tough decisions?
Like yes, you have to be persistent as an entrepreneur. The persistence only makes you makes you through, and there is no substitute for hard work. For example, you cannot learn some of the technologies without putting certain number of hours. Like you, for example, you guys, if you want to apply for entry level Google job or Meta job, it's not possible without doing say 300 lead code problems like that. So you, there is no substitute for hard work, and persistence is everything. These two things I have believed in. Typically most of my jobs I have spent at least 4 to 6 months for about 6 to 8 hours every day working on working towards achieving that.
Yeah, and also I wanted to touch back a bit about like the work side and the college side. I was looking at a research paper that you published about machine learning approach for formulating local and federal government policy. Could you talk to us about it? But could you also talk to us about the research process and how it was about finding an idea and going through like the research question and stuff like that?
Yeah, research is just like any other startup idea. It is similar to that. You will come up with an idea. I saw there was a gap in government for using machine learning and AI during that time. This is way before current that current times. It was like in 2019. I saw there is an opportunity where governments can use machine learning for where, like in India there is lot of leakages in government distribution of services to public. So how we can make it more efficient, that was my intuition, and based on that I came up with this idea. And government also has lot of data, be it weather data, whether it is pensions data or water resources, etc. So how we can get this data and make a good use of this data and give suggestions to improve the efficiency of the system. So the research paper goes like this. Usually the conferences will have call for papers, like they will say the deadline for abstract is on certain date. You will submit the abstract, and if the abstract is accepted, then they will tell you to submit a full paper, which will typically consist of introduction, literature overview. Literature overview consists of what has been done by other experts in the field so far, and then you will say problem statement, what you are trying to accomplish, and then you will say what is the methodology that you are adopting, and then you will conclude with the conclusion and results and conclusion, etc. And then you will give references. This is the typical structure of a research paper. So first you will come up just like a startup idea, you will come up with an idea, and then you will work through this process and go through it. Yeah.
Yeah, and going through this whole process, obviously it can be tough going through just by yourself. You did touch about how you met like your co-founder in undergrad and stuff. And as we can see, collaboration is a huge part of this scaling ideas. And what have you learned about working efficiently with people who think differently from you?
Yeah, like there is a quote that it's a difference of opinion that makes horse races. Like you cannot have agreement with everybody. You need to have difference of opinion, and you have to have that ability to convince them the merits of your idea, and do not get have egoistic about any opinion. You may be wrong or he may be wrong. Have an intellectual discussion, be it with your founder or your co-author or anything. So I had I had some of the co-founders with my venture. So I worked with them and ideated some of the ideas, like can we do this? What are the merits of doing this? And then if this doesn't work out, what is our plan B, C, etc. So uh, it's like a typical collaboration, But the key is you need to have humility and respect for mutual respect. That is the key thing.
Yeah, and also touching a bit off of Praneeth's question about collaboration in a work environment in a professional setting, I wanted to read a quote of a recommendation of someone who sent for you on LinkedIn, and the quote reads, "It's from Girish D. Prabhu, and it reads, Siddarth Pai is one of the most outstanding engineering managers I've worked with." And then he talks about the context, and then he says, "He had been a great mentor and coach, motivating me to learn new technologies and also bring out of the box ideas for the project. He has one of the best management and entrepreneurial skills among people I have met and had the chance to work with." So, how do you carry yourself, and and what kind of moral principles, kind of like what Praneeth was saying earlier, do you have at work that allows someone to leave such a good recommendation about you?
Yeah, like I always was not considering myself like a leader. I was considering them like a co-worker or like equal and equal terms. So it comes from the mutual respect thing, and some of the key principles that I have set during my founding is that we need to be very agile and learning, so that we need to learn new technologies. That time we were all pursuing our undergrad, so it was important for us to be humble and learn new technology at a faster pace. So Girish Prabhu was an intern. He was doing undergrad, and I yeah. So he worked very good in my product, and he developed both backend and front end. He was a full stack engineer. Yeah. So I motivated with him, and we worked collaboratively. We coded together, pair programming and all. We coded together, and it was very kind of him to say that. Yeah.
Yeah, and kind of what Arv was saying and how your recommendation, it talks about mentors and other peers. What role do you feel like these mentors and peers play in helping you grow both as an engineer and a founder?
Yeah, mentors play important role because they have gone through some of the experiences that you have may not have gone through because of your age or your exposure to different things. So they help you shed light on their experiences. This helps immensely. I have a lot of mentors on different domains who have given me their advice and perspective. So yeah, so mentors play a very key role as a founder, and even as an engineer. Like the engineering problems are very complex. Sometimes you may not have encountered that, so mentors try to solve them very easily. If it takes this if it takes certain problem for you, it takes you a week, they may do it in 2 days. So in that way, yeah, mentors will help you greatly in any of the yeah, both as a founder and as an engineer.
Yeah, and talking also about complexity and like engineering problems and relating it to like working in a big corporation. In your experience, what are the biggest misconceptions engineers have about entrepreneurship?
Yeah, engineers, as I said earlier, engineers tend to think that entrepreneurship is just about build technology. It is not just about the technology. They think that if you have an app, you can raise $1 million. That doesn't work like that. So you need to solve some of the business problem in the market, and people think certain, like even I used to think when I was young, idea is everything. Like idea is so sacred that if somebody steals your idea and it is yeah, it's but that is not the case. The technology is 20% of it. The majority of execution is the plays a major role. Execution as in how can you reach, how can you market your products to customer well. There were a lot of shopping apps before Flipkart came in India. There were a lot of search engines before Google came. So there were a lot of photo sharing app before Instagram had come. So and yeah, so like that. So it is not just about the product. So engineers tend to think that product is everything, but the product is product plays a role, but it there are some other aspects which makes the execution work. So engineers also have to have that business acumen to solve business problems. So
Yeah, that's truly great advice for people starting out and trying to go onto this journey. I have a somewhat abstract question. If you weren't in tech, what other field do you think you'd be drawn to, and how come?
yeah, I like finance. I read about finance because for finance, I like geopolitics. So yeah, these two areas I feel there are a lot of interesting things that are happening. And technology is also a thread, like lot of quantitative trading companies you see, so they use technology for these fields. But yeah, I'm also drawn to finance, and because I have a fascination with mathematics, I like finance. And yeah.
Yeah, me too. I like finance too, and I definitely read up about a lot of articles and try to stay up to date with what's going on in the financial realm. I wanted to talk about impact and regarding what does impact mean for you, and how do you ensure that whatever work you're doing, whether while being an entrepreneur or like while working for a big corporation, is something that's meaningful and something that's worth your time.
Yeah. uh, Impact is very important. Whatever, like other than other, the purpose of work is to make a difference in somebody's life. So that is the purpose of work for anybody, whether you are a teacher or whether you are an engineer, or whether you are in business. So like I give an example. Like during COVID, I worked on a AI model for one of the healthcare modalities during my tenure at GE Healthcare. So it worked in real time in hospital, saving people's life. So this is one of the examples of an impact. Or in the JP Morgan, I was part of an authentication team which prevented fraud logins through AI and machine learning. So this prevented, like, yeah, there are about 80 million US customers in the JP Morgan, and there are over 5 trillions of assets. So protecting them in digital world is very important from cyber scamsters and cyber attacks. So, these are the kind of impacts that we currently in Walmart. Walmart is, as you know, it's a $600 billion company, and how their data can be used to give competitive advantage to our suppliers. So that I am working on currently. So yeah, the impact that we do for our customers and for the public in general is what fascinates. Sorry, what motivates me to work every day. Yeah.
Yeah, these are like honestly really fascinating stories to see your experience in all these different fields. Was there like a specific time or like side project or experiment that taught you something unexpected about either leadership or innovation?
Yeah, like during my undergrad, the entrepreneurial journey that has given me exposure to leadership. And another thing, what did you say? I just, yeah.
Was there like a story that taught you something unexpected about leadership or innovation?
Yeah, uh, yeah. Innovation is solving the problem, which and like which is building, like solving the problem by building something. That is called innovation. Yeah. The extracurricular that I worked was on my during my entrepreneurial journey, where I took an initiative. I came up with an idea, and idea I worked on the idea with the business plan, and then applied to my incubator, and then motivated people to join my startup. So that was about leadership, and then we built a prototype and showcased that prototype to our college and others. Like, so yeah, that was my experience with the leadership and innovation. Yeah, for others, uh, yeah, they need to take an initiative. They need to be curious about the general environment, what is happening, and they need to work on building a product or service to solve that problem. And first it will be just an idea, then you will write it down, conceptualize and build a business plan around it, apply to others, speak to people, and get a customer interview, and then you can iterate and move forward. So this is what I feel.
Yeah, and also that was really good advice. Also about how it is and how to kind of deal with it. But to talk more about your journey specifically at Walmart, working in a massive organization like Walmart Tech can teach you a lot about systems and scale. What lessons have you taken from that environment and that you think every engineer should learn early on?
Yeah. Uh, Walmart has a high engineering bar, which I was not exposed earlier. So, as an engineer, you need to deliver with the high quality and a fast pace, because that if you don't do it in a fast pace, then your competitor may do it. As Walmart has a competitor like Target, Costco, and all, you need to be very fast and set a high engineering standard. So, as an engineer, I would draw a lesson that we need to be like building the best while doing this. Yeah, yeah, in whatever you do.
When you say building the best, do you mean like building the best product?
uh, like building the best product with the highest quality, like in the while you develop a code, you will have a code coverage, you will have other things like your code should be bug free, it should handle all the corner case scenario, it should do the exception handling, etc. So as an engineer, you need to think of all this scenario and then develop that solution with a in a very short time and deliver it to excellence.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And also, I wanted to talk about how, like you said, you have interest in finance, but then you're also in tech, and you were a part entrepreneur. Many people in tech struggle to find direction with so many different options available, from AI to like product management to startups. How do you find out what path you wanted to follow, and what advice would you give regarding that?
uh, it is a wrong advice to tell people that follow your passion, but also it may not be always true. You need to identify area which you can build an expertise and over time, and then get a good you can earn good money. That should be the larger objective. And then you need to see which skill sets aligns with your interest, like and then work towards it. And it's not going to be easy path. So for example, even to become a product manager, you need to understand how other products are built. Like you may have seen how Android has evolved from last 10 years, or any product for that matter. So you need to be curious and work towards that.
Yeah, that's actually really nice advice. Oh, for you, what would you say that suppose like people were gonna look back on your journey like years from now? What do you hope they say that you stood for as like Siddarth Pai?
Yeah, I always wanted to, like, I am not, I'm in the earliest stage of my journey. Like I eventually want to build a technology venture so someday on deep tech. That is has been my journey. So I want people to remember me for being a risk taker that has ventured and built something. So hence I had started earlier. I could not get that breakthrough in my venture earlier, but I in the future, I would want to build a technology venture which people will recall that I have solved the problem and built a company like like the big companies of the world, like Meta, Google, etc.
Yeah, and I wish you success with your journey in founding a company in deep tech. For our audience, could you like define deep tech and explain what you might want to plan on starting in the deep tech realm?
Yeah, I am in the early ideation phase. I have not started it. I am still employed. Yeah, so I am just saying in the future. Sorry, the deep tech, the definition means the it's a bunch of technologies that are very hard to build. For example, biotechnology, genetic research, or quantum computing, like that, or foundational model in the AI research, like that. These are technologies that require you minimum a PhD to start with. So a PhD level of expertise. So that to me is a deep tech, which you need a significant of years of experience and academic rigor to venture into some of these domains. Yeah, that to me is a deep tech. I am fascinated by a foundational AI models. I'm taking courses in Hugging Face, in some of the YouTube courses, and yeah, and even I'm fascinated by quantum computing, how they can solve the future's problem, etc. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems that deep tech is a field that you're very interested in.
Yeah.
In your view, what separates a deep tech company from a more typical software startup?
In the typical software startup, the most of the technology stacks that have been defined a decade ago, could it be Java, Spring Boot, or C Sharp, or React JS, etc., or cloud technologies, it's all defined. Only thing that you have to work on is building the design around it, and to solve particular problem. Like if you want to start a payments company, the stack is readily available. You have authentication, authorization, you have the given request, get and put, all the APIs. You know how to build it. In the deep tech, that stack is not clearly defined. That's what I feel. Like in deep tech, you have to do a research and get the output of the research, use that innovation and IP for your competitive advantage, and build that venture. So the deep tech has the research part. In the software engineering, you will probably execute on existing technology. You will not particularly make a research. So
Yeah, and touching back earlier on about what you said about impact and also having where you hope they have a company like in deep tech space where people know and acknowledge that you took a risk. In terms of success, how do you personally measure success? Is it about impact, learning, or something else?
yeah, it is more about personal satisfaction. It is a mixture of impact and learning. For me, I can say it's a 70% impact and 30% learning. Uh, that's what how I would like to put it. So I want to create an impact in public life uh, by doing some of this venture in the future. Yeah.
Yeah, it's also very important to, stay grounded and make sure that you're staying on track when things don't go planned, whether it's a failed project or pivot. How do you make sure to ensure that you are grounded?
Yeah, you take a feedback regularly. Do not have a ego while reaching out to customer or to the potential investor or your even early employees. One of the learnings that I have is we need to we need to be having more listening to others. Like you need to take a feedback, whether it's from today. If I start a company, if I take two interns, even they are interns, I need to be humble enough to listen to their opinion and learn from their viewpoints. So yeah, that's what I feel. And typically the startups are difficult. If it's easy, everybody would have built it. You need to have that persistence and say belief that something will work out eventually. Yeah, that persistence will make you successful eventually. Yeah.
I feel like that's a very true statement about startups and about how a lot of people have the idea, but they don't have the drive that kind of translates their idea into success. I wanted to talk about just like the job market and tech in general. There's a lot of articles about how people out of college and CS they're not able to really find jobs, and you especially you're living in the New York metropolitan area. How do you say the job scene is, and how you can better your chances of being able to get a job in the tech field?
Yeah, I have done two master degrees and I have done undergrad in CS. It's called information science. It comes under CS department. But I feel the curriculum that we are taught in the college is just a foundational one. You will be just taught introduction to Java programming, introduction to C++ programming. That's it. Industry wants you to be proficient in some of the technologies such as cloud, and cloud has a lot of components to it, like Kubernetes, Docker technology, and CI/CD, which is like continuous integration and continuous delivery. And all of these technologies are not being taught in the colleges. And now people are extensively using Copilot. There is an experienced engineer with you who has experience using a Copilot versus you. So how do you upskill yourself to compete against them? Tomorrow, one person may get laid off who is having a 2 year experience. You, as an undergrad, will be competing with that guy too because he's unemployed, right? He has an experience. So, the best way today is to learn. It's not just through academia, it is through open courseware. Whether it's Coursera, whether it's YouTube, whether it's some course which is available online. So, you need to be continuously learning in the cutting edge of technology. And it's not just about learning, because learning you cannot show to your employer, right? It may be in your head, you cannot show it. You need to build a project around it. If you are interested in finance, you can build a say finance GPT. Okay, just an idea. Okay, and then you can call some of the Yahoo Finance API and then analyze say Apple stock. and then call some news API, say Reuters. You call a Reuters a news API, analyze what is the happening about Apple using LLM, and then make a prediction. So if you build this and then show it to Bloomberg tomorrow, and then Bloomberg may be interested. Okay, you have done something. You know how to call an API. You know how to call an LLM. You know how to use Copilot. You know how to use Git. Okay, some of these technologies which are very basic, it's not difficult for anybody to learn. Git is just a where you put your code, right? And Copilot, instead of using chat gpt for like asking, so what should I have for breakfast, you can ask what uh, what projects, what interesting projects I can build using chat gpt. Okay, you will get a react code, ready made react code on chat gpt. You can put it in your github, create a GitHub portfolio, sorry, project, and then push this code there. So that's how you build. So you can showcase some of the projects to your employer.
It seems like it's a huge part of learning and just taking a strive on your own. How can a high schooler who is building these GPTs and wanting to show off their skills that they've been learning, how would they get into contact with these higher professionals?
Yeah. The best way to yeah, first what you can do is there are some so YouTube channels which teach you to complete to build a product from the project from the scratch. You just build them and put it on your GitHub. To reach to people, you can search by their employer. Like you can search people who are working in, say, Microsoft, Apple, Google, etc. You can see some of the mutual connection, whether it's through your relatives, your parents, or your siblings, or they may be a mutual connection of that person. So you can reach out to them and then ask for a 30 minutes mentoring session, and then you can see what skills you need to develop to land in a job like them. By this process you will be able to do that, I feel.
Awesome. Yeah, I feel like that's actually really good advice for people kind of confused about what they want to do. And like, really, I feel like the issue is how to do it. So I feel like a lot of high schoolers have the idea and the drive, but they're just like, okay, where do I get started? And then what do I do it? So I definitely think that's really good advice. To touch back about your earlier answer, I had a few questions. First, you talked about taking the advantage of like Coursera and like Udemy and YouTube. Do you think there should be any specific course that an engineer should take, or do you just recommend trying out a course?
I recommend taking a for high schoolers. I recommend taking a beginner course. I feel the technologies are very important if they want to do any projects on CS. They need to know cloud technology. I recommend them do either of the GCP or the AWS, introduction to AWS and introduction to GCP, which will be very foundational even if they want to be an AI engineer. On AI, they can do initially courses on Python, because they need to know basic programming in Python to be able to code in machine learning, right? So they can start with the Python programming, and on AI, they can start with, there is a IBM has a AI engineering specialization in which you have 9 courses. You can start with one course at a time. Similarly, other companies also may provide similar specialization, university, or like I know for a fact that Northwestern and Princeton has a course on data structures and algorithms. It's very good. Uh, if you do that, you will be very strong in fundamental data structure, and then you will be fundamental in coding, programming language. So most of the entry level roles, they do not ask for system design, even including Google. They will ask for 3 programming rounds, which will be basic programming question, which will typically take 30 minutes to solve. Like for example, x to the power y, how do you compute how do you write this program in Python, for example. So these kind of questions they will ask. So yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you so much for giving us examples of what courses to take, and I feel like that's going to be really helpful. Really quick, you talked about using AI. How much AI do you think you should be using in your projects, and what's the correct way to leverage AI in your opinion?
Most of the GitHub Copilot is free, I think, for with the Visual Studio Code. You can use that. Typically, I feel at least it should be 20%. I recommend it to be 50% of your code using generated using AI, because it reduces the redundancy. You are wasting time in typing them. You already know what you're going to type. It's like I say, you say happy birthday in the LinkedIn, it says thanks, right? That thanks typing is a waste of time, right? You can just select whatever is readily available, right? So coding has become like that. Uh, you build a building blocks which is needed for your project, and then the repeatable things which you know is redundant you can generate using AI. So, and test cases you can generate using AI so that your code is good quality. As I told earlier, you need to build a good quality code. For every test, suppose you build a calculator app, you need to build a test cases whether it works for all the scenarios, whether it handles error scenario like divided by zero kind of scenarios. So you need to build that test cases that you can generate using AI. You don't have to sit and code it because it doesn't break your functionality. The code of the test code is redundant, so you can generate using AI. Yeah.
Yeah, and it seems like, especially right now, high schoolers as well as college students, they have lots of resources like these courses and open databases. But this also means that like everyone has these resources, right? So how would you say they can stand out from their competition and build a program that goes above and beyond?
Yeah. Uh, Most of them do a repeatable project, like they see the project of their seniors or the siblings and they try to do it. But I say you just make use your chat GPT as your co-pilot and come up with an idea and tell chat GPT think like an MBA student and refine this idea. So if you give this kind of prompts, it will give you better idea, and then you can tell ChatGPT to break this down and refine this idea and give me a steps how I can build a project out of this idea. So suppose if I had a ChatGPT in that day, I would ask ChatGPT how can I start Garage Connect today, means Garage Connect project today. Can you generate the front end code for this? Can you generate the back end code for this? And then would you suggest what would you suggest the next step to be? Like that, if you can give a good prompt and do use that as a co-pilot, it can do a good job for you. So to stand out from the competition, yeah, come up with a unique idea. If you have a problem with coming up with the unique idea, I'm giving this suggestion as ChatGPT, and then have a relentless persistence on execution, because execution matters. That's what there's a guy called Mark Anderson. I don't know if you guys are aware that A16Z founder. He founded a Netscape browser at the age of 19. Okay, which was like a current Mozilla is was the earlier Netscape browser. Okay, he did not he went to investor because he already had a product. Okay, so you the best way to show interest for your employer or your investor is building a product. It's not talking about the product. You understood what I'm saying? Yeah, if I tell that I want to build a AI chat app, nobody will understand it, right? You build a chat GPT and show them. I'm just giving an example, like as it's, yeah. So nowadays it's easy to generate. You can generate a website using chat GPT. You can, creating idea is easy. So on data sets, you can take a pressing problem which is close to your heart. Okay, for example, you can say the air pollution is high in such and such metro area. I want to analyze the public open source data sets on this air pollution. Then I can say I can work with some of the what ways through data science I can suggest to reduce this air pollution. Like whether it's through encouraging electric vehicles or whatever. Like so, like that. Yeah, this way you can do that. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your answer for leveraging AI. And I feel like AI, yeah, definitely can be really helpful with whatever you want to do and to optimize your tasks, both like menial tasks, but also tasks that are very like time consuming and thought provoking. As we start to wrap up, this is a question we ask all our guests. And the question is, if you would give advice to your younger self or to a high school student based on what you learned throughout your years, what would it be?
I say that idea is not that important. execution is very important. If I had focused more on learning the technical ability and execute it better, I would have been a better entrepreneur by now. So I feel that hands-on doing project with the persistence is, and never give up. Like, it's not, I'm just saying like that, but it's actually true. Sometimes we do this idea for 3 weeks or 4 weeks, then we give up. You never give up and take it to a point. Nowadays, if you find any technical challenges, you chat GPT or other AI tools are available which you can use to solve those problems. So if you have an idea, write it down neatly, like a product specification, and break it down into easy task. Like, if you want to build a, say, if you want to build a app for your school, you want to build a football app for your school which can give a football score. uh, you can start with writing a product specification. You will have a login, you will have a scorecards, you will have a list of names of players and all those things, and then you can break it down and then start working on each of these things and make a timeline for it. And don't give up, complete this project and upload it on GitHub. Make sure, as young kids, make a GitHub account, make a AWS account, and just play around it. The best way to do is by doing. The best way to learn is by doing it. So yeah, so that's what I would like to recommend here.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Pai. This has been a great conversation. I feel like there's lots of valuable advice that high schoolers and college students alike can take into their future.
Yeah, thank you so much, Praneeth and Arav. It was pleasure speaking with you guys. Wishing you all
Yeah,
the
Same
best.
here.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
thank
Yeah,
you.
it was a really good episode, and I feel like the advice you gave is definitely going to help a lot of high school students wanting to traverse and go into the AI engineering and cloud computing space. Yeah, thank you so much for your time and answers, Mr.
Thank
Pai.
you. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Mr. Pai, this has been a fascinating conversation. What stands out is your thoughtful approach, the way you blend engineering, precision with entrepreneurial curiosity.
Absolutely. Your perspective shows that innovation isn't just about ideas, it's about patience, clarity, and the courage to explore uncharted paths.
To our listeners, thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed this conversation, share it with someone who's passionate about building their own path.
Professional Perspectives is all about stories like this, people who turn skills into impact and ideas into action.
We'll see you next time. Until then, keep building, keep questioning, and keep exploring your professional perspectives.